In Boston, one of the highest tides on record flooded a subway station near the New England Aquarium. Pipes cracked from New Jersey to North Carolina. Even Florida's iguanas found themselves stunned by the cold. From the Spanish moss-canopied sidewalks of Savannah, GA, to icy villages in coastal Maine, emergency officials reckoned with the rages, whims and remains of a storm that shut down schools for more than 1 million children, flooded roadways, filled homeless shelters and forced the cancellations of thousands of flights. Yet the storm, notable for a steep drop in atmospheric pressure that prompted some forecasters to describe it as a bomb cyclone, was but one act in a prolonged run of misery that had already enveloped millions of people in a wintry torment of Arctic air and snow-blown streets. Major developments: wind chills are expected to repeatedly plunge below zero in some areas, especially in New England, for the next several days. As the storm left most of the East Coast behind on Thursday, utility companies scrambled to restore electricity to tens of thousands of homes and businesses. Read more on how power companies have warned of possible fuel shortages to come. Gov. Roy Cooper of North Carolina said Thursday morning that 2 men had died when a pickup truck overturned in an icy creek in Moore County, and that a third death had been reported in Beaufort County. By Thursday afternoon, the Associated Press had also reported 1 death in South Carolina and another in Philadelphia. All along the eastern seaboard, roads iced over, snow-covered, or slush-filled were treacherous on Thursday and likely to remain that way for a few days. Some states, including New York, imposed restrictions on some roads and limited truck travel. The storm's path through some of the busiest air travel corridors in the country prompted airlines to cancel more than 4,000 flights and delay 2,000 more by nightfall on Thursday, according to FlightAware, an aviation tracking website. Carriers have already abandoned plans for more than 900 flights on Friday. Read more here. Sign up for the morning briefing for news and a daily look at what you need to know to begin your day. Boston's Long Wharf area became a slushy mess when a 3-foot tidal surge pushed floodwaters into buildings and down the steps of the Aquarium mass transit station. Firefighters rescued 1 person who was trapped in a car that had water nearly to its door handles. "This is the first time I've ever seen the water come this high in the downtown area," Joseph Finn, the city's fire commissioner, said as the wind whipped heavy snow through the air. Mr. Finn said emergency workers had made some other rescues in coastal areas of the city, helping people out of stranded cars in the icy water, and city officials said flooding had extended to other neighborhoods, including the Seaport, Dorchester, and East Boston. Meteorologists said Thursday's tides were some of the highest ever recorded in Boston. "We had a very high astronomical tide to begin with, and we're looking basically at a 3-foot storm surge on top of that," said Hayden Frank, a meteorologist with the Weather Service's office in Taunton, Mass. "To get significant coastal flooding, you need to have the strongest winds at exactly the time of high tide, and that's kind of what happened today." Earlier on Thursday, Boston Common was almost silent as it began to fill with snow early, cloaked in a white haze interrupted only by the odd spray of Christmas lights or a solitary silhouette walking through the park. Vitalina Diaz, 38, rode the Orange Line toward her job cleaning offices in downtown Boston, with her pants tucked into her boots and her hood up to buffet the effects of the chilly wind. "I hope I can get a train back," Ms. Diaz said. "It's a lot of snow." As of early Thursday evening, parts of Boston had been hit with more than a foot of snow, according to the National Weather Service. With 8 to 15 inches of snow already down in New York City and its suburbs, and another few inches still to come in eastern Long Island, the National Weather Service warned of continuing high winds and blowing snow through the night, followed by toe-numbing cold into the weekend. Mayor Bill de Blasio said that with the wind chill, it could feel like -20 degrees on Friday and Saturday nights. On Thursday, Eric Tavares, 42, of the Bronx, stood outside the storied Plaza Hotel overlooking Central Park. Howling winds had already been blowing snow into his eyes. Once your feet get cold, your whole body is done, said Mr. Tavares, who was among the workers facing the daunting task of shoveling the snow to keep people from slipping on the checkered floors outside the hotel. Mr. Tavares said he could not wait to get home and be with his children. The city's public schools were expected to reopen on Friday. Flights resumed at LaGuardia Airport Thursday evening, but would not resume at Kennedy International Airport until 7 a.m. on Friday. Read more here. In Washington, the National Weather Service said Thursday's high temperature reached just 27 degrees. Temperatures are not expected to reach the 40s maybe until Monday. By Thursday afternoon, the black pavement on Pennsylvania Avenue was dulled under a thick layer of salt. A few blocks south on the National Mall, the American flags beside the World War II memorial whipped in the wind as resolute tourists explored the monuments. Our kids have never really seen snow before, said John Weir of Miami, FLA, who was traveling with his wife, Sylvia, and their 3 children. All 5 were bundled and masked, exposing only their eyes. Jordan Papa, from Auckland, New Zealand, slid around on the frozen reflecting pool with his partner, Jada Tainwi, as the couple bantered that they had heard the ice crack beneath them. You see this pool in movies, and we just wanted to be able to say we've walked on it, Ms. Tainwi said. In Maine, where the Weather Service had issued a warning until midnight Eastern for hurricane-force winds along the coast, residents were taking the harsh wintry conditions in stride. Mish Summers, 46, who lives in Lincolnville, ME, went for a run Thursday in whiteout conditions with ice cleats on her shoes. Probably should have run in snowshoes, she said. She said she loved being part of the stillness outdoors. What happens when the snow falls with this kind of intensity? It gets so quiet, she said. There's a very hushed sense of everything being so gentle around us. Cooper Funk, 38, a vegetable farmer in Camden, ME, who is a 5th-generation Californian, said he was worried about the wind, which was roaring around his house at more than 40 miles per hour, though the greenhouse-like structures over his vegetables were still standing. When temperatures dip into the 30s and 40s, Floridians know to be on the lookout for reptiles stunned but not necessarily killed by the cold. They can come back to life again when it warms up. In Boca Raton, Frank Sarabino, a Palm Beach Post columnist familiar with the creatures, stepped outside and saw a bright green specimen by his pool on Thursday morning. Feet up, he didn't move, Mr. Sarabino said. But he's probably still alive. My experience is that they take a while to die. In the end, the iguana lived. Read more here. In Wilmington, NC, most people didn't expect to get any snow this year, but more than 3 inches fell on Thursday, according to the Wilmington Star News. We love it. We love having it actually be winter in the South, and we love the southern version of a sled, a boogie board, Rachel Baldwin told the newspaper. In Fredericksburg, Virginia, dozens of onlookers called the police to report that 3 swans had been hemmed in by ice on a pond, but were relieved to learn they were not frozen. They were just fake, according to the Freelance Star. And the police in Greenville, NC, said they caught two men who had broken into cars on Wednesday by tracking their footprints in the snow. What makes a storm a bomb is how fast the atmospheric pressure falls. Falling atmospheric pressure is a characteristic of all storms. By definition, the barometric pressure must drop by at least 24 millibars in 24 hours for a storm to be called a bomb cyclone. The formation of such a storm is called bombogenesis. Here is how it works. Deep drops in barometric pressure occur when a region of warm air meets one of cold air. The air starts to move, and the rotation of the Earth creates a cyclonic effect. The direction is counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere, when viewed from above, leading to winds that come out of the northeast and nor'easter. Read more here. Some scientists studying the connection between climate change and cold spells, which occur when cold Arctic air dips south, say that they may be related. But the importance of the relationship is not fully clear yet. Read more here.